Persecution of our Christian faith is something that, until just recently, was kind of a foreign concept to most Christians in America. I have to say that's changing, both through education of our role to advocate for believers around the globe, but unfortunately, it's also by experience right here in the United States. Now, a part of FRC's team for religious freedom, we have Bob Fu on our team, and we have Andrew Brunson. Both have experienced firsthand persecution. Bob growing up in China, and Andrew as a missionary in Turkey. Now, Andrew just returned from the Transatlantic Summit in Budapest, where organizations from around the world gathered to discuss matters of faith, family, and freedom. And he joins me here to talk about that, as well as his message to pastors here in Houston today. Andrew, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Hi, Tony. Good to be with you.
Always good to see you, my friend. So you were in Budapest. I'm glad you do this international travel because I don't like to. So tell us about Budapest.
Yeah, so people came together from around 30 countries or so. A number of them are involved in parliaments or in government in their own countries, and they're gathering to talk about values, and I would say biblical values, especially Judeo-Christian values, and how they can promote that in their societies and in their governments. What really interested me is that there were a number of people from Latin America. Spanish was the most commonly spoken language there, I think, and also a delegation from Africa. And I think this is significant because especially as we see Christian values coming under pressure in the West, then I think the global South, where the church is growing very quickly, is going to be much more important, and they need to take more responsibility for defending and promoting Christian values. So I was very encouraged to see that.
You know, that's interesting because we're seeing this in some of these denominational debates that are taking place over the authority of Scripture.
Yes, and over some of the social issues, you could say, LGBT issues, for example, with some of the more conservative churches now in the global South. And the churches in the West trying to drag them into more progressive views.
And Africa as well. You know, one of the things I've long thought is that, like in Africa, and I've been to parts of Africa, and where they have to, survival is a real issue for them. I mean, just surviving. And so they have to work, they have to have food and to have clothing. You know, we're so prosperous in the West that we have too much time on our hands, I think, that allows us to go into these other things, and we're no longer dependent or concerned about God providing for us. We're quote unquote self-made people.
You know, I don't understand all the reasons for why the West is going the way it is, but I think you've underlined one of them. And what I see in the church in the global South, yes, they're under pressure many times, as you say, just trying to survive, but the church is strengthening, and it has vitality. And that's where a lot of the life in the church is now.
Now, you had a message there in Budapest, which was similar to the message that you had for pastors here in Houston. It's a message that you've been carrying that you and I talked about over a year ago, and it's really why you are on the FRC team. That is what you see on the horizon.
So what I say to pastors is they've been appointed as under-shepherds of the great shepherd Jesus. And they're supposed to take care of the sheep, love them, protect them, nurture them, and the sheep are in danger now. So I think there is the danger of being knocked out because of the pressures that are rising, the hostility that is going to rise, I think especially in the United States right now, toward people who are faithful followers of Jesus. And this is something that, for various reasons, some people are aware of it, a lot of people aren't. And I think one of the reasons that there is maybe a denial that this, I think of it as a great wave, dark wave that is about to crash on the church. Mm-hmm. But I think of a false sense of confidence in a way. Maybe as people look at the midterm elections coming up and they see that conservatives may make some real gains, I think that will take care of everything. But the reality is that the political is a very important part, and we need to elect leaders who will be courageous in defending and carving out area for religious freedom. But our culture, all of the commanding heights of our culture have turned so hostile toward faithful followers of Jesus. I think this is going to increase. So even some political wins now will not take care of the problem.
You're absolutely right. In fact, before we run out of time, you have a new resource that has been made available, Prepare to Stand, which is equipping believers, pastors, churches, individuals to be prepared to stand for biblical truth, something you had to learn firsthand. Tell our viewers and listeners about it.
So one of the things God was doing through my imprisonment, I believe, because I broke, I had a very
as a prisoner in Turkey for being a missionary there preaching the gospel,
Yes.
just for someone who may have just caught you for the first
Yes.
time on radio. I just want to clarify that.
So I was surprised that at the intensity of the persecution, how I didn't handle it the way I had hoped to.
Right.
And it was very difficult for me. And in that breaking, I had to learn in my weakness to strengthen myself to stand under pressure. And so out of that, I think one of the things that God was doing through that, allowing me to break and then rebuilding me, is that I would learn how to do this, because some of these things are transferable, some mentalities, perspectives, and disciplines. And so there's a video series now, it's on FRC actually, called Prepare to Stand. And it talks about some of the dangers and some of the ways that we can prepare ourselves so that we do stand in persecution.
Well, we need to get you back on to talk specifically about that series, because it's a powerful series, Prepare to Stand, frc.org/prepare to stand. You can also go to TonyPerkins.com and follow the links over. Andrew Brunson, always great to see you. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Tony.